Maybe he got a little too cozy with some of these birds.
Only explanation I have in where a Fiat Uno could keep up with a Mercedes S280, okay?
It's not that I wouldn't fight Mothman. I would beat the shit out of him.
We're seasoned.
So wait, you mean to tell me they have a festival commemorating the day a man got his shit rocked by an extraterrestrial carrot?
My neighbors across the street, they are not real.
But a pyramid is the most boring shape.
Part Sasquatch, part trickster midget. What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us in the Conspiracy Kitchen, where we uncover the secret ingredients behind life's daily mysteries. I'm your head chef, Joe, and as always, I'm accompanied by my sous chef, Josh, the Cryptid Killer.
Hi.
And tonight, in the kitchen, we're going to jump in. We're going to go back to some little paranormal stories, right? And we're going to talk about the Bell Witch haunting in Tennessee, and what we think it is. Could it be a ghost, Josh? Could it be some other stuff going on? Could it be a true demon, poltergeist? What do you think?
I think something very scary happened back then. It definitely wasn't someone angry at this man for one of the many misdeeds he did. I think it was a ghost.
Yeah, so we had the main person affected by this ghost, or this entity, in, I guess it was Adams, Tennessee. I believe it's Red River now? But Adams, Tennessee, back in 1817, was John Bell Sr., and apparently was a pretty good farmer, right? And he moved with his family, his wife Lucy, children, Betsy and Richard. He had a John Jr. in the area in 1804, and this whole start, they built the house, right, on this farm from scratch. It wasn't like a house that was there that, some bad things happened and then they moved into. Like every other ghost story, right? The house is always something happened, a murder or something happened in the house, people move in and they get haunted. This one, they built the house themselves on the land. And they moved in there in 1804. And then 13 years later, that's when everything goes down, right? In 1817. So, the initial manifestations in 1817 would be, I guess the first thing is John spots a bizarre dog animal thing. It's described as a dog with a rabbit head or something. And in his cornfield, and he does what everyone would do, right? He just shoots at it.
Yeah, that's what you do when you see a poor defenseless dog in the field. And you're like, hey, don't pet it or try to feed it. You just shoot at it.
There's nothing else to do. Don't go check and see what it is. Don't do anything else. Just shoot at it, and it vanishes. He said. Not that it, ran away like, oh, fuck, this guy's a lunatic, let me get the fuck out of here. He says he claims it vanishes. Mm-hmm. So then other family members begin seeing odd creatures as well, and they report giant turkeys, whatever the fuck that is, black dogs running around and stuff like that. Then comes, the knocking, the chain dragging noises in the house, right? Bed covers getting pulled off, people getting slapped. Right in the house.
Well, people or person.
Or I should say person. I should say maybe two people, right?
So, yeah, because four of the boys, they shared a room. So when the knocking started, it would happen at 1 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's dead asleep, and they just hear this annoying knocking sound on the walls. And then that turned into scratching noises on the foot of their bed, and as soon as they would jump up to see, because they thought it was like a rat or something, they didn't want to catch the hantavirus or whatever it's called, so they jumped up out of the hantavirus. So they jumped up out of bed, the hantavirus. Thank you. And they jumped up out of bed, and it immediately stopped. And they're like, "Well, what the fuck?" And that went on for months or years. I don't know. It went on for a very long time. And it just progressively got worse and turned into, like you said, the sounds of chains dragging. Mm-hmm. And one account was even it sounded like dogs were fighting in the room. But as soon as they got out of bed, it all stopped. You'd think they would take turns standing so the others could sleep, but that's just, Hindsight's 2020, I guess.
Yeah, you should, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, after a little while, I got those things. It goes on for a while. It does go on for a while. So I mean, it starts in 1817, and basically it lasts for about 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
About 3 years. So as it escalates, you hear the noises and stuff like that. But the escalation starts where the entity then focuses more on his daughter Betsy, right? It's pinching her, they said, slapping her, pulling her hair, and John. Now John Sr. gets the physical attacks, and apparently the thing starts cursing him, right? It develops like a voice somehow. Starts whispery at first, right? And then over time becomes more clear and actually can hold conversations with these people. Right? Like it can quote scripture.
Yeah. Right? Started as like a slight mumble and then immediately turned into like, hey, how are you? Like, all right.
Yeah. But it also reveals secrets about the neighbors around and basically can travel around instantly.
Yeah. How do you think breakfast was the night after these things happened? Like the four boys, they're sitting there like, wow, it was really loud last night, right, guys? That was terrible. Other side of the table, John and Betsy are bleeding, just sitting there with a fucking 1,000-yard stare, just like, fuck you, kids.
Yeah. I mean, especially when he starts his later symptoms, right? Because
it gets worse.
It gets worse. So they're just like beating him, and then there's tons of like theories. I guess we can get into, but we'll just go like I guess a broad overview of what from start to finish, and then we'll get into his different theories. Right? That's how you want to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have the voices, the beatings, the slaps, and stuff like that. Then it begins to call itself Kate, right? The witch, the Bell Witch calls itself Kate after the Kate Bats, the neighbor. Mm-hmm. Or old Kate Bats, the witch, huh? It claims multiple spirits sometimes. It comes as a black dog, etc. Stuff like that, like different animals. And it just keeps getting, like, I guess, more and more severe for definitely Betsy. And John, too, because eventually John suffers from facial twitches, stiffness, right? His jaw locks up, can't swallow well. And illness, and eventually in December 1820, he's unconscious, right? The witch actually says, I gave him a big dose. And then finally, John Jr. finds a black vial with some kind of mysterious liquid in it. And how would you, and I'll get into this, if you found a black vial with a mysterious liquid in it, how would you test to see what it is?
If I'm being completely honest, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. Maybe I'd pour it in a house plant and see if it withers. Certainly not what these pieces of shit did.
Yeah, this is like one of the worst things. And I guess because it is the 1800s, right? But I would not do it the way they did it. And it still pissed me off the way they did it. So they go and get the vial and they're like, we got to get a barn cat, right? Yeah. And they basically just, test it on the cat. Like complete scumbags they are. On top of everything else. Well, first of all, John, he's a good guy, right?
Well,
no.
So,
no.
So no, before we go further, let me just quick side note on that here.
Yeah.
There's many, and I mean many, documentaries on this subject, which I watched a lot of them. Now, the first couple of ones that I watched, they're like, yeah, he was a real pillar of the community. He helped build the town for what it is, and his family helped, and they were constantly doing for others. Someone said he even gave money to people that he thought needed it. Like, wow. Now I'm hearing that. I'm like, well, he sounds like a stand-up guy. Joe, tell the nice people what he actually had.
So, they counted those documentaries, but then you got the one, right? A couple of them, actually. And we have... Well, the first thing that comes out about this is that you got Kate Bats, which I was talking about, is the neighbor, There was a dispute with Kate's brother-in-law, her husband's brother, and they quarreled over the sale of a slave, which was recorded in the Red River Baptist Church minutes. Whatever the Sims kind of paper, I guess. So that makes me think that he's not actually a stand-up guy.
No.
No. Yeah,
no.
so we could start seeing, like, things do come out that he's basically a piece of shit. So I think, honestly, a lot of people did not like this guy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of reason for having him dead. I'll say that. Exactly.
But he is the only, like, recognized person in American history that his death is claimed to have been by an evil entity or spirit. So whoever did kill him got away with it. Unless you honestly think it was the Bell Witch. The real Bell Witch.
It's just, I don't know. The whole documentary thing makes me laugh because, it, like I was telling you before we started, it was all like kind of lighthearted and like, yeah, you remember the community. And then I cut to the last documentary. It's like, he owned 47 slaves. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And he shoots at animals in the field. I'm like, he's a piece of shit.
He kind of is. He kind of is a piece of shit. We also have a different... So, before I get into more of, I guess, the theories that I have, or if Josh has, he does have a connection here. The witch has a connection to Andrew Jackson.
Huh.
A famous, he was a general at the time. He's a future president after this, but he was a general at the time. So Andrew Jackson hears about the hauntings from the Bell sons. Now, the sons apparently served under him in the Battle of New Orleans. So he's curious about what's going on there. So he arrives with a group of armed men in a large wagon. As they approach the Bell farm, the wagon suddenly stops. They claimed it as if it was like just glued to the ground. And the horses are sitting there trying to pull it. It won't move. The men try to push it. They're cracking the whip over the horses. Nothing gets it to move. Jackson, frustrated, declares, "By the eternal, boys, it is the witch," he says. And then there's allegedly, a disembodied, metallic-sounding female voice replying from the bushes. "All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you again tonight." And immediately the wagon begins to move. So you got Andrew Jackson there. So that night at the house, the witch torments Jackson's group, throwing stuff, slapping the people. You know what I mean? Pulling their hair. And then we have the one guy who claims to be a witch hunter. He's a self-proclaimed ghost hunter, exorcist, witch hunter, challenges the witch. She apparently then beats the shit out of him and drags him around by the nose in front of everyone.
Christ.
Some tough guy, right? This is all, and apparently they're saying, through folklore about Andrew Jackson, and his diaries or whatever. Jackson reported watches the chaos and later says something. "I never saw so much fun in all my life. This beats fighting the British." And he basically leaves. Now, John feels pretty much humiliated by this because he believes that, he's the owner of the property. He controls the property, but the witch basically just is, overrides him. Makes it as that she owns the place because she's sitting there freaking tormenting people, beating them, pulling their hair, throwing shit at him, and he really can't do anything about it. And Andrew Jackson states he would much rather fight the British than go back to the Bell House and deal with that witch.
It's just in all the accounts of the witch speaking to them, it's the way she speaks. That's very un-ghost-like. She's like, "All right, General, I'll see you later." Like, what?
Yeah, what witch would do that? Yeah,
Well, give me like an hour. I'll be over there. Like, it sounds nothing like a witch or a ghost of any kind.
No. I've never. This is the only haunting I've ever like looked into so far, in which the witch, basically the ghost, or the entity, or the demon, or whatever, has a full-on personality and fucks around. Not just nasty and trying to like kill you, but also like jokes about it and torments you and thinks it's funny.
Yeah. She kind of sounds fun. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. The whole way they describe her, like every account, it's like, yeah, then the carriage stopped on its own and a scary voice said from the bushes, "Hey, I'll see you later." Like, what the fuck?
I'll see you.
It scared nobody.
Let the horses move. Let the carriage move. I'll talk to you tonight.
Oh, is your carriage stuck? All right, let me get that for you. I'll see you in an hour. Like, what?
And then just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, proceeds to beat up his
big.
friend. Ugh.
Oh no!
Christ's sake. Is this your buddy? Boom. Boo.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk. I didn't know much about the Bell Witch either until I was like, we were talking about doing another paranormal episode, just to talk about some ghosts, and I was like looking into things. I was like, this one's a weird one.
This one's a fun one. I like the Bell
It's
Witch.
kind of a fun one. Yeah. So, do you think it's an actual ghost or entity?
So at first, before learning about all of his misdeeds, I could have said maybe. And then I heard what he's actually known for, and I said absolutely not. Although, there was a lot of accounts from his slaves saying that they were also affected by the witch, and they were, followed by black dogs. There's one, the slave's name is Dean, which is the most unslaved name there could be. Dean was walking along at night, going to visit his wife. I guess she was at a camp nearby, and was followed by a big, creepy-looking black dog, much like the one that John saw and shot at for fun.
If you don't know what it is, shoot at it.
Yeah. That was the 1800s. If you don't know what something is, you just fucking blast it. And then, Betsy observed a girl in a green dress. She always saw a girl in a green dress, and she was swinging from the limb of an oak tree. Like, all the kids saw shit.
Yeah. Or claimed, yeah. They claimed they saw stuff.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's...
Claimed.
It's just
and that's what I was going to get into later on with my theory on what's going on here. But all the kids claiming they saw stuff, too, to add to the haunting.
Yeah, there was... The one kid's story in particular was interesting to me. His daughter, Esther, which will always go, on file as one of my most hated names. So if I could tell a quick spooky story, I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do it. I got a candle burning and everything. Mahogany teak wood, if anyone's curious. So Esther went across the lane to get eggs from the chicken coop. That it was like down a dirt road right across from their house. So as she's walking there, she hears, footsteps behind her. And it's the middle of the day, so she's like, oh, I guess there's someone behind me. So she turns, and she sees a woman in a black dress and a bonnet walking in the opposite direction of her towards her house. Mm-hmm. So Esther, thinking, oh, this must just be someone from town. Let me be neighborly and go and say hi. She starts to follow her and starts calling out to her. Like, hey, hi, how are you? Or whatever their accent of the time was. But the woman doesn't answer. She just keeps walking. So Esther gets closer and closer, and she finally yells out even louder, like, hey, hello. And then the woman stops, and Esther freezes. And the woman pulls off her bonnet, and her long, matted hair falls down. And she starts running her fingers through her hair faster and faster. And Esther thinks she's, combing her hair with her fingers, because whatever. But as she gets closer, she realizes the woman's ripping the hair out of her scalp. And she's doing it faster and faster. And as she's getting closer, she can actually hear the hair getting ripped out of her scalp. So Esther freaks the fuck out and runs around the woman and into her house and locks the door behind her and calls out to her sister, the only other person home at the time. So her sister runs to her side and they go to the window and she's like, basically like, fucking look at this shit. I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah.
So look at this shit. And they look out the window, and she's still there, ripping her hair out faster and faster until she looks up and locks eyes with Esther. And the woman immediately freezes with her hands in her hair. And then she just keeps her gaze directly at her eyes and walks to the side of the house, just casually, and out of view of them. So they run to the side of the house to the other window, and that's when they see this woman climb over their fence. This time, there's 3 small children in, like, all wearing white, and they're following the woman. So they go over the fence and into their, the back of their property, and they all go to where there's, like, a bunch of trees, and they each climb up into a different tree, and they just start waving back and forth and shaking the branches in a really creepy looking way and freaking out Esther and her sister. And at this point, Esther's husband comes home through the front door, and they call him over, and he's like looking out the window, and they're like, don't you see? Look at them. They're in the fucking trees, man. Again, paraphrasing. And all he saw... He's like, I don't see people. I just see the trees waving. And they realize that he can't see them. So they all 3 of them run out back and run over to the trees to, like, confront them. But they're all gone, and the trees are just shaking on their own, and then they stop. And then that's the end of it. Now, it's a creepy story.
It's pretty elaborate.
It's very elaborate. That was the only haunting part of the Bell Witch stories that I liked. It was very creepy. I heard that story and I was like, ooh, that's fun. But, yeah, I don't know. Just ripping her own hair out.
Yeah, that's actually, it's a pretty scary scene.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
No.
I think the kids are lying.
100%.
And so... Do you have a theory besides being a ghost and what it is?
Yeah.
What's your theory?
I think it's one of the slaves.
Okay. You think one of the slaves did it?
Yeah, I think that, any slave had the reason to kill their master.
Oh, yeah.
You have a theory that is definitely a better one, I think.
Yeah, so my theory would be, well, Lucy would, or Betsy, I should start with first, was also getting physically abused, right? Mm-hmm. Of all the children, she was the one that had, like, actual physical wounds, I guess you could say, right? None of the other kids really had that. And John, obviously, was getting kind of beaten up a little bit. I believe, to start, I think John was kind of slapping around Betsy for some reason. He was an abusive father and he might not have agreed with Betsy, I guess, at her age, being engaged to a gentleman named Joshua Gardner. Right? She was supposed to marry this guy. And so it was abuse. That's what I think was going on. I think he was abusing her. And then to counteract that, or what you would say is Lucy was then protecting her daughter, right? She didn't appreciate her husband beating her daughter and his daughter. He obviously was kind of a scumbag, right? I've looked into it, I try to dig into it. There's not much about him being a drunk, but I don't know if there'd be a lot of record about that at the time of the 1800s. They probably all drank anyway, right?
Yeah.
Probably, right? I would think so.
Not much else to do back then.
Not much else to do back then. You're farming, he's farming and drinking. So I think after a while of this going down, all the kids were then part of it. The kids were all on the mother's side to try to we got to do something about your father. He's kind of a piece of shit. So that's why I think they all came up with this story, the ghost and hearing everything. And I think they were fucking making all these noises and everything at night to make John actually think the place was haunted. Because look, they build the house themselves, right? They move in, they build the house themselves on a farmland in 1804. And it's not to 1817 that stuff starts to happen. Mm. That's like no ghost story in the history of ghost stories goes that way. Do you know of any? I don't know of any where they lived there for fucking 13 years before all of a sudden, you know what I mean? All of a sudden there's a haunting happening and nothing bad happened in the house until that haunting.
Yeah.
So 13 years go by. I think he's slowly just getting worse and worse. He gets more and more drunk. And I think on top of it, I think he was cheating on Lucy. You know, some of the kids started mentioning seeing a woman in a dress or whatever. What happens if that was someone, an actual person, leaving the area after, he had his relations. And that's what really pushed Lucy over the top. He was mad at Betsy for trying to marry freaking Joshua Gardner. And she's mad also because she caught him cheating. So what do? You start the kids are all involved they need to get a story together, right? They have to get away with murder. They can't just murder him. So they go 3 years. They're in it for the long run, right? This is the long game. We don't want to be too quick. We don't want to be over the top. We don't want to get caught. So they construct this whole elaborate ghost. They're smart. This ghost scene. She then slowly starts poisoning him with arsenic. If you look at his symptoms later on, the twitching, the lockjaw, the inability to swallow and stuff, classic arsenic poisoning. Let's not test the black vial, right, to see what's in there besides giving it to a cat. Why don't they check to see what that actually was?
Yeah.
So I think she starts then slowly poisoning him. And then the other thing that kind of doesn't make sense to me is that the witch apparently loved Lucy. All right, this witch said out loud that Lucy was the perfect woman. Isn't that kind of odd to you?
A little bit. Yeah. Also, to add to his, I would say, alcohol abuse, real quick,
Yeah.
The townspeople often mentioned that he would show signs of being out of it because mid-conversation with him, he would just stand up and walk away. And then he would go to his room in his house and just sit there for hours looking at the wall. Just fucking blitzed, man.
That's why I think I think she was slowly poisoning him. And then if your brain's getting destroyed and everything, wouldn't it cause hallucinations?
Yeah.
And then the kids just be like, oh yeah, I see that, yeah, and they just go with it. And he's like, oh, fuck. Right? And so I think the beatings were originally on, Betsy, and then they switched it up. They tried to kill him, and then it all came on him. He had no idea where he was. They would probably beat him. Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know where he is. He's being poisoned. Maybe Lucy learned a little ventriloquism, right? Throwing her voice around to make it sound like it.
Oh, God. Just beat the shit out of him in the middle of the night when it's dark.
Yeah. And slowly kill him. And then in 1820, freaking basically dies December 20th. And they just claim, oh yeah, don't worry. An entity killed him. Just written down. Entity kills him. Done.
Yeah. Just
doesn't make any sense.
The one vial. That whole thing annoys me because why would this spirit remove all the other medicine from the cabinet? Just remove everything and leave that. And then why would you take it? like if you take out everything that you know about and you just leave a black vial, you're not gonna drink it.
Yeah, you're not going to unless someone makes you drink it.
I wonder what this is. No, put it down.
Yeah. Or, maybe, just maybe, the haunting is real. Let's just say the haunting is real.
Okay.
But Lucy's still pissed off that he's cheating and then uses the haunting that's going on as a cover-up for murder.
I guess. I don't think there's a spirit.
There's no haunting, right?
No.
This is a little hybrid. Some people who want to have the poltergeist real, who want to have this real. Because, if you get into it, to this day, there's caves in the area, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say they see stuff.
Yeah. Look, everybody wants the haunting to be real because that means that there's more to life than there is. Because you're like, oh, well, there's spirits. That means there's an afterlife. And then you everything feels good after that. But when you pick these stories apart very quickly, like this one, it's clearly not a spirit. At all. He was doing some shit. He was beating his kids. Well, his kid. He was just a drunk slave owner piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, R.I.P. Yeah, the whole family sucked. They're poisoning cats. Fuck all of you.
Now, there's another theory. What about this land dispute type theory with his neighbor, Catherine Batts, or Kate Batts?
See, that's the other thing. So people have gone on record saying that she didn't care that much. They were like, yeah,
yes.
she really wasn't that broken up over it. It sucked at the time, but it is what it is.
So, and that's the other thing too. Like the Bell Witch has so many different stories linked to it. Almost like no matter which documentary you look at, no matter which account you look at, there's just different details, right? Because some people say that this Kate Batts, the neighbor, cursed John on her deathbed. However, if you look into it, John died 1820, right?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't die till the 1840s.
Yeah. she was not dead.
So that just completely blows the claim of cursing him from her deathbed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the other funny thing, because people were saying that the witch is her.
Yes.
But she was not dead. She was right next door. Like, she wasn't a spirit.
Exactly. So, and there's a big thing about like a land dispute with her, and then she was just trying to kill him over a disputed land. But there's no direct land, like, there's no deals. Like, if you look through all this stuff, there's no land deal between the two.
No.
We had the Benjamin Batts, which was the documented quarrel over sale of a slave. And John Bell had a separate land dispute with a guy named Josiah Fort in 1816. So no one ever even brings this guy up. It's literally right before the hauntings start. Right? So from 1804 to 1817, nothing goes on. This guy has a land dispute the year before, and then all of a sudden the hauntings start. Did you look into Joshua Fort in 1816?
Briefly, yeah. I There's so many fucking plot holes in his story. Uh, like there's the land dispute, and then there's also when, like, months after the shit started at the house, he told the kids, he's like, all right, don't tell anybody in town, because if someone's fucking with us, I don't want to give them the satisfaction or something like that. So then they waited another couple of months till it got unbearable, and then he told his buddy, and his buddy's like, well, hey man, why don't I just come sleep over at your house? So he probably brought his buddy over to beat his kid with him, or something creepy like that, because his buddy came and slept over, and then he was like, oh, well, the ghost came, so he got scared and left. That's convenient. And then everybody in town was like, all right, well, we're going to take turns sleeping over at your house. The fuck goes on? So, I don't know. It's just bizarre shit, man.
I mean, exactly, but like the Joshua Fort thing kind of has it could be motive, right? Motive for killing him. So in 1816, just before the hauntings, Josiah, not Joshua. Joshua Gardner was the thing. Josiah Fort and John Bell had a land dispute over property lines and a boundary disagreement. It was, again, for some reason, I guess back then, the church took care of everything. The Red River Baptist Church Minute Book talked about this, and it was documented. And the church got involved and favored in John Bell's favor. And then all of a sudden, the next year, the whole thing goes down. I think he pissed a lot of people off. I think he pissed a lot of people off. And as they got... more and more people got pissed off. It could be a whole freaking... like, conglomerate of people saying, let's fucking kill this piece of shit.
The whole town.
The whole town was like, he needs to just die.
Yeah. Probably at a town meeting during one of his benders. It was like, look, we're gonna make him think that his house is fucking haunted. And they go to Betsy, like, you're gonna have to take one for the team and just take a few beatings, and she's like, okay.
Oh, so you're thinking that he didn't even beat his daughter.
No, I think he did beat his daughter.
Okay.
But I think that, Betsy was the only kid who left her door unlocked, and he came in and beat her.
Now, it's kind of funny with Betsy. Betsy stops, I guess because of the death or whatever. She breaks it off with Joshua Gardner on Easter. Just to be, kind of a schmuck. And then goes and marries her school teacher. Now, apparently, she was documented to be between 12 and 15 at the time of getting engaged to this Joshua Gardner. So I guess it wasn't even that long. I feel like, I don't know, even for the 1800s, I feel like that's too young.
Yes.
But I guess not.
No, it is.
She goes and marries a school teacher after this and leaves. Goes to Mississippi or something. And leaves the rest of her family behind. And it's still the same stuff. I keep getting back to it must have been the wife. It has to have been Lucy.
Yeah. Well, here's another theory. And we'll get back to the wife. Here's another theory. Maybe this was a whole big conspiracy to kill Betsy. And I say that, and I think the whole town hated her for some reason. Because after she would get her, beatings from the ghost at her house, the family sent her to different houses in town to stay the night there so that she would be safe. Okay. But she would still get the shit kicked out of her. So either it is really a spirit or the whole town's taking turns beating the shit out of this 12-year-old. I don't know why. Maybe the eggs she went to get or her sister, I don't know. Some bullshit happened and the town hates her.
So wait, she would leave. And, I didn't know about this. She would go to other houses to sleep over.
Yes. So she spent the night at like 5 different homes in town. And each time she would go to these different houses, she would still come back battered from the spirit. Yeah.
Would it still affect John when she was gone as well?
They didn't go into detail on John during this time, but they just mentioned that she got her shit rocked several different homes. So, yeah, it's either a ghost is following her off property or the town hates her.
Or could it be her abusive fiance too?
I don't think the fiance was with her at the different houses. No. They would probably think like, "Oh, you're not married. This is unnatural for you to spend the night."
It's true. It's probably true. And she allegedly was beaten in other houses.
Allegedly. Did they say how old the fiance was? I know he was a school teacher, but everyone lived till like 20 back then.
The school teacher was the second husband. That was the guy. She broke up with Joshua Gardner and went on to marry her school teacher. I don't know. Let's check. Joshua Gardner, his age. Well, I feel like he was much older. Like, I just have that feeling.
Would have to be, right? To be a fucking school teacher?
Well, no, like I said, Joshua...
Oh, that's right, yeah. Joshua
now was... They claim he was 20.
But she was 12. Ew.
No, it says during the engagement she was 14, and he was 20.
Oh, that makes it better. Fuck's sake.
And then that guy Joshua lived on to be 87 years old, the ripe old age of 87. He died he was born in 1800, March 30th, 1800, and died in 1887.
How old was the other guy?
I say how old. You just want to see how many freaking scumbags are in this fucking area.
Dude, the amount of scumbags in this whole story alone. Because then she gets with this guy. Let's say a year passed in between then. So she's 15 now.
Yeah.
If it's anything above 20... If it's anything above 20, we have a problem.
This guy was older.
No.
That guy was Richard Rowell. Powell. Professor Powell. He was born in 1795. He was 29. She was 18.
Well, no, it's
when
still
they got
bad.
married. She was an adult then.
It's still creepy.
What happened to Richard?
Professor.
Richard died young.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Richard died at 53.
That's old for the 1800s.
Yeah, but the other guy lived to 87.
Wow.
Joshua Gardner lived to 87. What's going on here? So, why would he die young? What happened here? And then she leaves and goes to...
Oh.
Let's see how he died. How did Richard die? How did Professor Powell die? This doesn't sound right. Shot in the chest
by a ghost.
This doesn't sound good. Because now all of a sudden Betsy's around two guys that don't live.
Yeah.
Into like their...
Starting to make sense now why the town hated her. Ran over by a horse. piloted by a ghost.
He died. He suffered a massive stroke.
Ah. An arsenic-induced stroke.
His condition gradually worsened until he passed away. Oh, he had a stroke at 42 and was severely disabled, unable to care for himself.
And then what did she do after he died?
She moved to Mississippi.
To move to a more depressing place.
See now, I don't know about this. This is odd. This is odd that people are dying around here like this. At 42, he's having a stroke. I mean, no, dude.
It's suspicious as fuck, is what it is.
I don't know. I was blaming Lucy and everything else, and maybe Betsy's the one that's trying to.
I don't know. Maybe instead of the Bell Witch story, it should be called Betsy's Revenge.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Betsy's the Bell Witch.
She died at 82.
She lived a full life then. What did she die of? Fucking blunt force trauma to the back of the skull.
She was just old.
Huh.
I honestly think she was now I'm starting to think no one suspected her. There's nothing in anything that ever puts any type of no one ever looks at her, right? See, now I just changed I wasn't even thinking this. I wasn't going to go this way, but now I'm starting to think that maybe it was her.
You think she fooled everybody and slowly poisoned her father?
So now I'm going to go with this. John's dead. John's killing was revenge for the physical and maybe even sexual abuse that piece of shit put on her.
Yeah.
She was protecting herself, and she was also pissed off after discovering that he was cheating on her mother. So what do? The haunting's been going on for a while, right? "Quote unquote" haunting. She's trying to get out of it. Obviously, you're going to do anything to get out of that kind of a situation. The witch only attacks her and John. Maybe she is the witch, right? Why wasn't it attacking any of the kids?
I think she created the witch as a way to slowly poison her father. But she wouldn't hurt any of her siblings, so she just fucked with them with noise to make them believe.
Exactly. Now, and what did we learn in psychology? Right? Severe trauma like this, doesn't that sometimes lead to a splintered personality?
Mm-hmm.
Where you can have like a personality, a take, like that multiple personality disorder, right? Like enigma. All right, so then when you're going through severe trauma like this, right, your brain switches, right, to its second personality. To protect you, it creates an alternate personality, and that's the one that takes all the beatings, right? Mm-hmm. So that the original personality doesn't have to feel it or remember it. That could be the witch, right? And when she's in this, split personality stage, that's when she's doing all this crazy shit. But she won't hurt her siblings, right? And she's obviously, she loves her mother. Her mother's always there for her. So that's why her mother is the most perfect woman, according to the witch, right?
Ah.
And the witch actually did not want her to marry Joshua. And she chooses not to marry Joshua. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she didn't like Joshua that much. She was having second doubts, and the witch didn't want her to, and it's just, she was part of that. And then she moves on to this Richard Powell. Now, obviously, the guy's kind of a scumbag. He's taking advantage of as one of his students. Right?
But she overlooks that because she's like, well, we all have problems.
We all have problems. But Maybe he's just another John.
Oh.
Something comes out, he's getting abusive, he's getting nasty. Maybe he's a drunk. There are several poisons, right? There's poisons out there that mimic stroke symptoms. And when you go back to the 1800s, this shit's much harder to detect, right?
Yeah. You mix it in with the pot roast.
You slowly start, guy has a stroke. She's pissed because she, for 11 years of caregiving, she's like, why isn't this fucking guy dead yet? After 11 years, she was giving, he was much older, he's disabled, he's a burden. I could see her getting pissed off about this. She's young. This guy took my basically my early life away. I have to deal with this old man now. And then she kills this guy. And then moves right after that to Mississippi.
To sunny Mississippi.
And what's funny is that she has Powell buried in an unmarked grave.
So she didn't like him very much.
I feel like if you love the guy, wouldn't you make sure that his grave was marked and you're going there and his name's on there and everything else? Like,
yeah, of course. Just unmarked. See you later.
Yeah, he's buried in an unmarked grave near the Cedar Hill community in Robertson County, Tennessee.
Yeah, see, I think we solved it. I think we did.
I think Betsy was the mastermind behind this whole thing.
Yeah,
and she had this multiple personality. Or, who knows, maybe, maybe she didn't even know maybe Powell, something happened and it brought out that second personality.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he did get a little nasty or something happened. And she, boom, switched right over it. It just came out again. And she fucking killed him. She poisoned the shit out of him because she did not want to deal with going back to some kind of... It's what happened with her father.
Mm. Yeah, because that shit happens at a young age. That'll stick with you for life.
Exactly. Yeah. And she was much younger than him. 11 years younger, right?
Yeah.
So, he has a stroke at 42. She's 31. She cares for him until she's 42. And then he finally just dies, Mark. And that was it. She got rid of a second one, and it moved off.
There's another 40 years ahead of her. Jesus.
Yeah, she did. Did she ever marry again?
Uh-oh.
Let's find out. What would you do if I was like, oh yeah, she married again, that guy died?
Died of arsenic poisoning. How refreshing.
Another stroke.
Huh. I don't know. I think her bloodlust is at an end.
Yeah. She lived with her daughter until she died. She lived 40 more years.
That's crazy. See, I'm telling you, man, it was her. It was 1,000% her.
She wanted kids. She didn't like the men anymore. Her father basically ruined her. Because he was a big piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Stealing people's land, owning slaves, not even doing a proper, whatever you want to call it, selling a slave to someone else and just getting, not on top of being a piece of shit owning a slave, you then rip someone else off for a slave, right? Property disputes and stuff, beating his freaking own daughter.
Yeah, because there was no reports of the other kids getting hurt. So yeah, it was just that.
No other kids were hurt. They just heard stuff and saw stuff. She was hit. She was beat. I don't think John wanted her to marry Joshua Gardner. and he was getting mad about it. Maybe she didn't even want to marry him. But the witch came out. The split personality came out. She poisoned him. The mother's going to cover it up, right? She ain't going to say anything. The other kids might have started to know after a while. They're not going to say anything. The guy's a scumbag, right? She calls it off on Easter with Joshua Gardner. Goes to Professor Powell. Somehow Professor Powell woos her. They get married. She's 18 only. He's 29. Her whole 20s are gone. Her whole young adult life is gone. Because they have like 4 kids or 5 kids. He then has a stroke early. Leaves him severely disabled. Can't even move. She ends him too. And now she just lives on her own peacefully for the next 40 years. Which they say is extremely unlikely in the 1800s for a woman to do that. But usually women in the 1800s, it says, would then move, at least have get with another man at that time. In that time period, they always kind of like, they would move on to another man, like at least have someone there for them, with them.
Right. But if your guy who has all the money is unable to move and stop you from taking all that money right before dying,
makes sense, right? She didn't want to be with anyone. She lived out the rest of her life with her daughter, Ava.
Yeah.
The next 40 years.
Happy ending.
A happy ending for her. She got away with both murders. And she lived happily ever after.
Yep. And now that town they put on plays in the park of the slave owner family that was visited by a witch. How fun.
What do you think she would think if she was alive today and saw what they do in memory of the Bell Witch, which was just her?
I feel like she would look around all nervous, like, oh, someone's going to figure it out at some point.
They have to, right? This is modern day.
They have to. But, yeah, no one ever suspected the fucking 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like I said, if they're getting that split personality and stuff, and you're 12 years old, and you're capable of some extraordinary things, I think.
Yeah, people are like, oh, she's a little girl, she can't harm anybody. But look at fucking Lizzie Borden. She butchered her family with an axe.
Yeah.
She was a child, so yeah, it's totally possible. I think we figured it out.
I think we did figure it out. I think no one even suspects her, and I honestly think it was Betsy.
This is what we do, folks. This is what we do here in the Conspiracy Kitchen. We find those ingredients, and we make you a nice meal of the truth. And that's what we did here.
So, yeah, guys, if you're listening, let us know. Do you think it was Betsy? Do you think it was an actual ghost, a haunting? Do you think it was Lucy? Do you think it was, one of the slaves? Think it was over the land dispute with the neighbor? Let us know on Spotify in the comments, or I guess this will be on YouTube too. Let us know in the YouTube comments. Comments have been now just basically flat earthers trashing us because they're upset with us about us being globetrotters.
For fuck's sake.
That's all the comments on there anymore. Oh, Conspiracy Kitchen podcast. They're so dumb. They think the Earth's a globe.
I'm so sick of the fucking flat earthers.
That's what YouTube comments have come to. So if you want to help us grow and you like what we're doing here, comment on here on Spotify, comment on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. I saw we've actually been growing on Apple Podcasts a little bit there. I don't know if you can comment on that though. I'm not really familiar with Apple Podcasts. I just know Spotify puts it on there for us and people listen to it on there. I'm not sure how it works. So and please on Spotify rate us, 5-star, 1-star, I don't know. Just rate us.
Hey, and if you're gonna comment, just hashtag Betsy did it.
I think Betsy did it. I really do. And tell your friends about us. You like listening to us sift through the secret ingredients, sift through and find the truth.
Yeah.
Help us grow. Let your friends know.
Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your disabled grandmother, anybody you can. Just, yeah.
Now, to me, do you think John could overcome the poisoning if they just drank some Ovaltine in their lives?
Yes, I feel like had he been drinking the Ovaltine the whole time, the arsenic would not have affected him in the slightest. He would have been alert. Probably would have done some farming, possibly weeding, and he would have lived a full life. And maybe if he had those nutrients in him, he wouldn't be in such a foul mood and not beat his child.
Yeah. Or he would make way better decisions and not be a piece of shit his entire life by owning slaves and, stealing people's land. He would have had more clarity. He would have been calmer, and he would have been a better person if he just drank the Ovaltine.
Yeah, would have been very level-headed. But instead he chose the alcohol, got the arsenic, and you know the rest.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we're gonna sign off here by listening to some more Simulated Sun. If you like what they put on here, and you hear it on this channel, and you jump over there, just let them know you heard it on Conspiracy Kitchen podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.